Shalom, brothers and sisters. 32 years ago, Lillian and I, we decided that Pasir Ris would be our home. Against many advice. It's too far. It's Ulu. Yeah, it was inconvenient because there were not very many amenities. But we wanted a quiet place to go home to, a place where there was quite some peace at the end of a busy and a noisy workday in the city. But Singapore, being a little country with little space, meant that today Pasir Ris is as noisy and busy and as crowded, with a water theme park just right next door to my house. Finding a quiet place, my friends, is a challenge. This is my quiet place. It is my seat at the beach, 5 minutes from home. Now, don't be deceived. It is good photography and also very good editing, because by 6:30 a.m., this place, the beach, is already noisy and filled with joggers and walkers. And somehow or other, we have a Teresa Ting diehard fan who keeps blasting "The Moon Represents My Heart." You know, you just have that kind of noise, people chatting along the way. Finding a quiet place is difficult these days. We jostle for space. There is a continuous competition for our attention. There's an unending distraction from the social media, from WhatsApp. Some people think that we have to answer the message immediately from Instagram, from entertainment on demand, Netflix, Disney+. And besides all this, each day is filled with its cares, and not forgetting concerns for tomorrow. We find ourselves saying things like, "Oh, all I want is some quiet," or "How I wish I could get away and be alone." The French philosopher Blaise Pascal said, "All humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." Now, Pascal said this 400 years ago, and it may be a bit exaggerated. How could all of humanity's problem be because man cannot be quiet and sit alone in a room? But think about it, 400 years ago, and already quietness was a contest for Pascal. I wonder what he would say about today, about this truth that we face, that we are unable to sit quietly for a moment. But there must be some value to quiet and alone time. Jesus modeled for us his alone time. There was a rhythm, perhaps, and some habit. In Mark 1:35, Jesus, rising very early in the morning while it was still dark, he departed and he went out to a desolate place, and there he prayed. 6 times in the Bible, we are informed that he went to a quiet place. In Mark 6:31 to 32, he invited his disciples to come away, as he did. Let me just read this to you. And the verse says this: "When he said to them, 'Come away by yourselves to a desolate place and rest a while,' for there were many people coming and going, and they had no time even to eat." Verse 32 says this: "And so they went away in the boat to a desolate place by themselves." The word desolate is also described as a desert, or a desert place, a solitude place, a quiet place. Why did Jesus go to quiet places? Matthew 14, Mark 6, John 6 tells us that Jesus went to quiet places to pray. Luke was a bit more specific. In Luke 6:12, he not only went to a quiet place to pray, he prayed to God, his Father. Jesus was getting popular and the crowds were always there, always demanding his attention. Another word, "Oh Lord," another healing. Jesus simply wanted and perhaps needed to commune with his Father. But getting away wasn't just about escaping from the crowd or a discipline. 5 o'clock, I've got to wake up in the morning for quiet time. No, it wasn't. It was about knowing and enjoying his Father, the Father he was separated from. He just longed to hear the Father's voice. Another reason why Jesus went to quiet places to pray is seen in Luke chapter 9 verse 18. And it says that now it happened that Jesus was praying alone and his disciples were with him. He was alone and yet not really alone, because Jesus knew that only at a quiet place would his disciples hear how he prayed. They could eavesdrop on his prayers. He modeled prayers for them, prayers of faith, of assurance, of peace, and of grace. He took them away to teach them how to pray. Our Father who art in heaven. All of these in quiet places. There are more reasons for going to a quiet place, but I will just add one more to our list today. In Mark 6:31, I read just now, Jesus told his disciples to come away, and the phrase, rest for a while. The disciples were quite overwhelmed by the crowd, and they didn't even have time to eat, let alone to close their eyes for a moment. Coming away to a quiet place meant rest. Rest from the crowd and rest from the world and even from the cares of the world for a moment, just for a moment, to be recharged. At my first silent retreat, there was no activity from check-in to dinner. I could have gone beachcombing, but I just went to the room and I just slept. I got much needed sleep. All of us need quiet places to speak to the Father and hear his voice. And I know we need to hear him so much more at such a time as this. His assurance, his comfort, his strength. For some of us, it will be opportunities in quiet places to teach others how to pray. And yet for most of us, it is a rest from this noisy, busy, daily life that we have. Life is tiring. You and I, we both know that life is tiring. But God is the strength of our heart. The Lord is saying to us, come to me all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. That is Jesus' promise for all of us. And oh yes, before I end, it is good to find a solitude place for quiet. But Mark 4 tells us of this account of Jesus asleep in the boat while the storm was raging around him. He was in his quiet place, sleeping at peace. A quiet place, my friends, is not a location or a circumstance. A quiet place is located in God, as Jesus found. And for us, it is located in Jesus also. I found that quiet place in the midst of Teresa Ting and the joggers and the walkers, because Jesus is my quiet place, and he is also your quiet place. As he has said, come away with him. Come away with Jesus today. That is his invitation. The Lord bless you.